We welcome you into the first ever episode of the Maryland Lacrosse Show presented by the Turtle. I'm Brendan Hartlove, delighted to be bringing you the show this season for the lacrosse capital of the world. Really interesting setup we're going to have here for the first half of the show. We're going to talk about the Maryland men's lacrosse team. Throughout the season, we'll be joined by head coach John Tillman and a current player or alumni guest, and then we'll pivot to the Maryland women's lacrosse team and be joined by head coach Cathy Reese and also a player or alumni guest. And we have a lot to get into, but first, it's cross season, and the Greene Turtle is your local spot to enjoy all the games with Draft Pass. For just $20, enjoy nickel domestic pints all game long and a select appetizer. With your Turtle Touchdown Pass, choose from domestic drafts or Turtle's very own Rinder's Keeper. Check out Turtle's new locations in Canton and Towson just in time for lacrosse season. No matter which Turtle you call home, the game day energy second to none. Head over to the Greene Turtle to sip pints, watch the game, and eat like a champ. Valid at participating locations only. Check your local Turtle for details. And we will now kick things off with the Maryland men's lacrosse team. And so we are now joined by head coach John Tillman and Maryland goalkeeper Logan McNaney. Seventh-ranked Terps are 4-1 in the early season. Coach, Logan, thanks for joining us. Excited to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. Excited to be here.
So, Coach, this is our first show, but it's not the first week of the season. So we have a little bit of housekeeping to do when we kind of look back over things so far. All 5 of your opponents have been ranked in the top 20. It's a really difficult start to the season. How do you kind of see that start of the schedule, knowing that some of the toughest games you're going to have are right up front?
Yeah, I just think that's part of, being part of this program. Obviously be the best is, really what we operate by. It's our mantra. And if you're going to be the best, you got to compete against the best. So we like playing a tough schedule. I know the guys enjoy it. They like the level of competition. Certainly you have to prepare really well and you have to put a lot in each week to get ready for the teams we play because they're all so good. But it's also really exciting. I think the guys look forward to it.
And Logan, for you, from a player perspective, and especially as a goalkeeper, what's that like knowing that there's no easing into the season? You're facing some really tough competition right from the get-go.
Yeah, the past few years since I've been here, the schedule's kind of been like that. I think it's good for all of us. The goal is to be the last one standing at the end of the season. So you're going to play good teams if you get to that point. So playing those teams, if we can, in the first half of the season, even into the second half, is beneficial for us because even this season we've been through a lot of games, a lot of one-goal games, and just kind of dealing with those in the beginning of the season helps us prepare for the rest of the season.
And so one of those games was on the road at number 7 Syracuse that was kind of a whirlwind of a game. Coach, for you, how important is it to get a statement win like that so early in the season to kind of maybe set the tone?
Yeah, I think, we know what's coming in the Big Ten. It's a really tough schedule. So I think those early season games, whether it's playing a tough game here or going on the road, which you're going to have to do, they're challenges. So I think putting your guys in those spots, it's not easy, but we feel like, those are things that the guys look forward to. I think one of the things we did was we tried to get on the road in the fall. We went up and scrimmaged Cornell, very similar kind of schedule that we had for Syracuse. We went up on Friday, stayed over, and then scrimmaged after their football game at about 6:00. So it got us in the mode of being on the road, the challenges that you face, the fact that, you're not going to have your home crowd. It's a different location. You got to stay in a hotel room. You got to develop a routine. So I thought that was really helpful for us because a 6:00 game, there's a lot of downtime on Saturday. So you kind of have to know how to manage it, how to stay focused. You obviously don't want to overthink things and stress yourself out. But you also don't want to just sit around your hotel room and sleep all day. So there's definitely a kind of a mindset you want to create, but also some habits and kind of a routine to get you ready to play. And certainly that was a great environment. A lot of Terp fans were up in Central New York, which was great, but a lot of fans in general. And I think those are things that kids look forward to when they think about coming to Maryland, and their memories that the guys will have, long after they leave.
And Logan, Coach talks about kind of those away games, the road games, and being creatures of habit, especially as a goalkeeper. That's something that always kind of comes in that mental preparation. How do you kind of go about that balance for the away games and kind of finding that routine and staying focused?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a very I don't do things before games. I'm not superstitious necessarily. Only a couple things. So for me personally, going on away trips, you're in the back of your mind. You're thinking about how the game's going to go. We've done prep all week, so kind of just like almost testing yourself mentally and how the game's going to go based on what we've seen throughout the week, and just kind of having that plan before the game, before every game is good for me. And I know a lot of guys have the same kind of mentality, and just having that routine allows you to get into a certain mindset to be ready to go once that first whistle blows.
Logan, you said you're not very superstitious, but you have a couple things. What are those couple things that you kind of do to prepare?
I wear the same shorts the night before every game. They're very old Hofstra Lacrosse Unlimited shorts. They don't have any pockets. It's all mat. It's like a mesh shorts. They're old. I found them in my dresser a long time ago, and I started wearing them. Kind of worked out. And I use this app that I've been using for a while. I won't go into detail about that because it really does help me. So
yeah,
and, I don't want to give away all my secrets.
No, that's totally fair. Nor would I ever expect you to. But while still understanding, not revealing all the secrets, who in the locker room maybe has some of the weirdest superstitions or pregame rituals that you're aware of?
I'm not really aware of much. I kind of lock in myself, so I don't really pay attention to what other guys do. So it's hard for me to tell. I wish I could answer that question, but I really don't know.
No, that's fair. That's laser focus before a game. That's exactly what you want, especially Coach. Coach, do you have any kind of, maybe not superstitions, but any kind of pregame routine or anything you do to kind of get yourself set?
Not really, no.
Easy enough. I mean, you kind of just go with the flow. Don't overthink it. But going back to that Syracuse game, Coach, that's a very different environment. We talked about the traveling fans and stuff like that, but just as a venue, I know you were kind of talking about trying to practice inside here, Maryland, to get prepared for that. What challenge does something like that present?
Yeah, definitely a different environment playing inside. And I think going into Jones Hill was really helpful that week. It's certainly not an exact replica, but being inside, just the feel of the place, it is different. So again, that's about as close as we can get. Again, taking that trip in the fall, I thought was really important, just because you sitting around all day is challenging. You don't want your first game to be the first time that you've done an overnight. So we like to do that either in the fall or in one of our first two scrimmages. And this year we scrimmaged Duke and Georgetown, but Duke was home and then Georgetown was away. So we really didn't get that. So again, we're all creatures of habit. So just dealing with the road, inevitably when you have a team of 50 guys, you go on the road, somebody will forget something. We try to give our guys reminders and packing lists and things like that, but it's just hard to, with that many guys and having the right equipment, and whether it's, bringing one piece of equipment or just something that you would need, somebody forgets something. So we always try to bring some backups. But again, even just getting a good night rest, not in your own bed, and having a roommate, and being in a hotel and such. So again, I think giving those guys that experience certainly does help you.
And so, Logan, we talked about the early difficulties of the schedule and kind of finding teams on the road and stuff like that. But looking at that last game, the one at Notre Dame, number 6 team in the country, first loss on the season, a very challenging opponent. As somebody that's one of the more experienced players on the team, kind of the elder statesman, what are some things you guys think you did well in that game? Because there's always positives in a loss, but what are also some things to maybe kind of improve upon?
I think we had sprouts of executing the game plan. Defensively, it wasn't necessarily our best day. Clearing wise, it wasn't our best day, but I think there were moments throughout the game where we did show what we were about and how we would normally play. But I think just the bottom line is execution. We have our coaches do a great job week in and week out preparing us for the opponents, and our scout guys do a great job. They'll do film on other guys too, and it's they try to help us out as much as they can and give us great looks throughout the week, and they did that. But it just comes back down to us, and we just have to execute better.
And Coach, what were your takeaways from that Notre Dame game?
Yeah, you're going into a tough place to travel to. It's a long day of travel on Saturday. You're playing the defending champs, a program that's been as good as anybody, the last decade, and maybe even more. So talented roster, great coaching staff, very athletic. So you always know it's going to be a challenge. It's been a great game for us. Sometimes it's gone our way. Sometimes it hasn't. But, teams like that, like they force you to kind of, if you make some mistakes, it forces you to kind of look and go, hey, maybe we need to work on that, or maybe we need to make some changes. So I like playing teams like that. Again, your risk of taking a loss obviously is greater when you're playing these really good opponents. But I think if you don't test yourself, sometimes you can get into like a little bit of a false sense of comfort. And so, Notre Dame, they're very dynamic on offense, so they're going to put 6 guys that can typically dodge and play off the ball and have good skills and play together well at all times. So you're going to have to, sometimes defend for 80 seconds or even more if they get a reset. So you really got to dig in. It tests your discipline, your communication, your fundamentals. And same thing in the clearing game. They're a great riding team. Then you get to the other end, and you're facing a goalie that obviously is terrific, a guy that we've seen 5 times now, and then a very athletic and experienced defense. Again, well coached. So you got to be able to get some leverage. You got to have good spacing. You got to make good decisions. And then when you finally get those opportunities, you got to can them. It's just not easy. So you have to be disciplined. You have to be patient. You got to kind of make sure that you just don't, take the first one. I think at times maybe we did that. And other times we did a great job. So it's trying to play a more complete game. And again, these experiences, I think experience is the best teacher. You can tell guys what you want, but once they're in it, they have that point of reference. I think they learn best from that. And then, now we can reflect back on some of the goods and the bads of any of our first few weeks, and say, hey, remember that game? This is what we want to do more of. Or, hey, remember we made a mistake there. That's something that we want to stay away from. And again, I think that puts you in a position each week to hopefully just keep getting better, and play your best lacrosse as you come down the stretch.
You talk about experience being one of the best teachers, and that's absolutely true. You've added a lot of guys this season, obviously freshmen and other additions. How have you seen them kind of settle and coach in terms of getting up to speed with maybe that discipline, the communication, the fundamentals?
Yeah, we have 8 freshmen that have come in, and we're excited about those guys. It's a great group of young men. Some guys are a little farther ahead than others. It's a big transition going from high school to college in any sport. The game is totally different. Some guys pick it up a little faster than others. It's hard to gauge how quickly guys will do it. Sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. Certainly Logan, we kind of expected him to potentially redshirt. And then after 4 games his freshman year was like, hey, we're throwing you in there. And so things can change really quickly. And obviously Logan's done a great job. And then we have 4 grad transfers, and those guys have assimilated well. I think they're well liked. We try to be really careful with the guys that we bring in. We try to be very clear about our culture and what we're about, and we want the guys to be really well connected. We feel like that's important for the success of the team. Is they have to really kind of be connected with each other. You don't always have to agree on everything. Certainly we have some guys that disagree on on who their favorite football team is and things of that nature, and in a fun way. But you want to respect the guys, and you want to kind of have a similar mindset of how important this is and how you're going to go about your day, and how hard you're going to work, how invested you are. And you want guys with good character that will trust each other. And I feel like, those 12 guys I mentioned, I think they fit in very well. Nobody's perfect, but they're great kids. And I think, Logan would agree. They're good members of our team, and guys that, again, if they're on the field, you believe in them. And even on the weekend, you trust them, and they'd have your back at any time. And that's about all you can ask for.
And Logan, you kind of touched on it there a little bit. When you were a freshman, you were kind of tossed into the fire a little bit too. What do you kind of remember about your experience transitioning from, high school to the college game? And then how do you maybe help share that with some of the new faces?
Yeah, so my junior year of high school, I transferred to a boarding school. So not a lot of guys end up going through boarding school, and that process of leaving home early and being away from parents. That was like the most difficult part for me in those first few months of transferring to Salisbury School in Connecticut. But even the transfer from high school to college, it's still a big difference, just like the size of the school. I thought it was a very big campus at first, but as the first few weeks go on, it gets smaller as you're taking similar routes every day. But I wouldn't say my approach really changed in terms of lacrosse once I got here. I think I wanted to help out the team as best as I could, whatever I had to do, whether it was on the scout team or, playing on the field when we play games. So I think I just try to have like a very consistent attitude throughout, and it's helped me. And I still try to do the same thing today.
And so as we kind of look ahead, this weekend we have Brown coming to town. And now I was interested to in doing some of the reading. You guys haven't played Brown in the regular season, the 21st century, which was kind of crazy. I think 1995, the last time Maryland has played Brown in the regular season. But, Coach, you played them in the postseason, and that was back in 2016 in that crazy Final Four game in Philly. What do you kind of remember about that experience and about that game?
Yeah, I mean, they were just outstanding that year. Just a team that they had a unique style to them, and man, oh man, were they good. Every position, the goalie now has been the world team goalie, and their faceoff guy, I think, was #1 in the country. So they were really good at those two positions, which that's going to set you up for success in our sport. But everywhere in between, they had great attackmen, midfielders, defensemen, well coached. That staff eventually went from Brown to Virginia, and obviously they won some championships there. So terrific team, tons of respect for Brown. Just traditionally one of the great programs in our sport. So was excited to try to get them on the schedule, and obviously, big challenge on Saturday to make sure that we're ready to roll.
And Logan, for you, kind of now coming back home, you're back in the home environment, starting to get a little more warmer outside, which is always nice in lacrosse season when you get the weekend. Just what's it like now kind of having all these years at Maryland and now kind of being able to just be playing in that home environment after some tough road games here?
Yeah, I think, like the first time running out onto the field as a freshman, it's a pretty surreal experience. And that experience doesn't stray away. Every time you run out on the field with fans hooting and hollering, and maybe some of our opponents not so much. But going out there, playing for what's on our chest, that's Maryland, and representing the school. I think it's an extremely grateful kind of thing. Like every time I step on the field, I'm grateful for what I have, and that's my team, my friends, my family, my coaches, and it's truly a special place. But it's the people that kind of make this place, and I'm very grateful to be here, and I really appreciate going out there every time.
And we appreciate you guys taking the time today to join us as well. Logan McNaney, Coach John Tillman, thank you so much for being here for the first episode of the season. Best of luck this weekend. And Logan, I hope you wash those shorts each time you wear them before the game.
I do.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Good luck this weekend. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So we're now going to switch over to Maryland women's lacrosse. But before we do that, introducing the Turtle Triple Play at the Greene Turtle, an extraordinary and unbeatable offer that's guaranteed to make your taste buds cheer with unparalleled excitement. For just $25, indulge in an appetizer and 2 delectable entrees. Tantalize your senses with every delicious bite, all while enjoying the exhilarating atmosphere of a sports fan's paradise. And here's the Grand Slam. For a mere additional $5, you can elevate your experience to legendary status by adding your choice dessert or 2 refreshing alcoholic beverages, making this offer an absolute steal. So don't miss out to score big with the Turtle Triple Play at the Greene Turtle today. Check your local Turtle for details. And so, like I said, we're now moving over to Maryland women's lacrosse, and we're joined by Maryland head coach Cathy Reese and Maryland goalie Emily Sterling, sharing a screen today, sharing a laptop, nice and cozy for the first show of the season.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. And, we figured since we're not in person, we're going to make it as in person as we can by being together on the same computer.
Absolutely. We make it work around here.
That's right.
Well, it's been a really good start to the season for you guys, and now number 9. And Coach, I want to start with you real quick because I feel like we talk about this every year, but you have such a difficult schedule at the start of the season. You've faced 3 top 20 teams in the first 6 games, at number 5 Syracuse versus 16 Florida, and now at number 10 Denver. And I was asking Coach Tillman the same thing, but what's it like approaching the start of the season knowing that some of the toughest games you're going to play are right up front?
Well, that's how we have always done things here at Maryland. And what we like to do is to challenge ourselves, play the best teams out there. It's only going to help us grow and get better and see what we need to learn at this point in the season. We start off every year just kind of trying to figure out who we are as a team and what we're looking to do. And we played some great teams so far in this beginning of the season, and they've all taught us something different, right? They've all played us a different way. They've all played different kinds of defenses. And if anything, it's helping us get better and prepare for conference play and everything that's ahead. So definitely a tough start to the season, but we've had some great wins and learned a lot from our Florida loss. And so that was, it stinks to lose those games, but it is early in the season and there is a lot of room to grow from there. So looking forward to what's ahead. We have another top 10 matchup on Sunday versus James Madison. So, it's just kind of one after the other is what it feels like right now. And that's kind of the beauty of sport is any given day, you got to step on the field and be able to produce.
And Emily, we now officially have your name as part of the stream here. So congrats and welcome. But for you, especially, kind of the same thing. There's no easing into this season, and especially from your positional standpoint, such a mental position. How do you kind of approach that beginning of a season?
Yeah, I think it's all about focusing on Maryland lacrosse, focusing on our game plan and talking about like the roots of who we are and what we do. And I think just building that confidence in ourselves and in one another, it helps us prepare for like any game that's thrown our way. We know that we are going to be perfectly prepared for the game that we're going into, and building this confidence so early in the season just kind of carries it out through the rest of the season, which is a great feeling. Like we're battle tested and we're battle tested early. So then when we get into those later games, when we might be a little more tired later in the season, like we're feeling good, we're ready to go. We know where we've been and what we can accomplish.
And so, Emily, sticking with you, we were talking to Logan McNaney. So we have both goalies today, which is fantastic. As a goalkeeper in a different sport myself, but that is such a mental position, like we were saying. Are you superstitious? Do you have any pregame rituals, anything like that?
Yes, I'm definitely superstitious. I will definitely downplay my amount of superstition. But the rest of the team will tell you that I'm a very superstitious person. I've let a lot of my superstitions go this year, which is good. I still have my couple little things like my gummies that I need to eat before the game, some of the songs I need to listen to. But it really comes down to like being able to shake those superstitions off. Like as soon as I get on the field, I kind of just let those go. And it's like, all right, I've been here before. I know what we're doing and my defense is going to have my back.
I have to ask this, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What are those songs, if you don't mind?
I cannot disclose that.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair. That's kind of the answer I expected. I would not do my journalistic duty if I did not ask that. Coach, do you have any kind of pregame rituals or traditions, or have you kind of shaken this off long ago?
Our staff is kind of all over the place. One of our coaches is very superstitious to what she wears, the same pair of socks or, underwear or whatever it may be. But, no, we just, love to have breakfast as a team in the morning or a meal together, and then have to have my vanilla latte from Starbucks. And that's kind of goes no matter what time of day. We sort of take that and run with it. But like Em said, you get out on the field and none of it matters. It's just all about playing and being ready to go, which we will do.
And you did yesterday, because that was a road win, not too far away necessarily at William and Mary, but a really big 20-5 win, which was the most goals in a game since you played William and Mary last year. So you guys clearly have their number. But that was something, Hannah Lubecker, Maggie Wiseman, hat tricks, 10 Terps scored in that game, 8 of them multiples. Coach, for you, what is it like to just kind of see your offense firing on all cylinders?
Well, I think that game was really good for us, right? Like, we've struggled with our shooting percentage so far this season. We spend a lot of time on it. We talk about it, and we're asked often, like, well, how are you going to change it? And we're going to change it by playing. And, every opportunity we get, we need to take advantage of. And, yesterday was the first time this season that our offense shot over 50%, which is one of our goals, what we try to do. And we haven't been close this year. And we've come away with some great wins. So I think that's kind of the positive that we're taking out of that this is something that we can control and need to do a better job of. And yesterday, having everybody contribute that was able to contribute was huge for our team and where we are in this point in the season. But I just think the shooting is just giving us a little more confidence in what we're doing offensively. And we've got a great group. We've got an awesome group of players, great team chemistry. They believe in each other. I love working with them, love this team. And it's really fun to see them successful and happy and just kind of finding that joy in competing that we had yesterday. And so I think it was a good point in the season for us. And again, you're looking back and we've had 2 wins over Final Four opponents from last year so far, both on the road. Like, not easy. The Dome's not an easy place to play. Going out to Colorado on an overnight trip is not an easy place to play. 2 huge wins, and we just haven't been shooting the way that we know we're capable of. So coming into a game like yesterday, having a game like that and being able to kind of leave with those numbers, I think is just sort of showing us what we have in what we're capable of and what we can do, and getting us prepared to play on Sunday.
And Emily, when we see offensive numbers like that, I'm compelled to ask, you have to face them in practice every day. You have so many offensive threats on your team, and you're probably playing against them more than the teams you're going to be playing against. Just what is that like in practice, having so many dynamic attackers around you?
Yeah, it's great. For both the defense and for my position specifically, it just makes us that much better as a team. We face some of the best attackers every single day at practice, and we always joke around and we'll be like, Eloise will score an amazing goal on us on the defense, and we'll be like, this is why she's on our team. Like, so we don't have to defend her, so I don't have to see her in a game. But no, they're there to make us better, and we're there to make them better, and it's just like a great competitive balance that we have.
You mentioned Eloise there, and she is now up to 101 career assists, which is kind of crazy to think about. Nobody's surprised, but still, just kind of seeing the numbers to it. So, Coach, kind of how have you seen Elle progress over her, time at Maryland so far?
Yeah, well, her journey's definitely been a unique one. When she started as a freshman, we were in the COVID year, not the one that was canceled, but where we were playing Big Ten competition only. And so her minutes were limited, her experiences were limited. The opportunity to learn was limited. So it was what it was. But coming into the next season in 2022, when she was able to take the field and play alongside Aurora Cordingley, who ended up at being a Twarton finalist for us that year, and learning, I think, from Aurora and playing beside her. And Aurora was a great feeder, great finisher. Eloise had all those skills too. And I think that was really the start of helping that kind of come through for her. And then she's taken over this offense in the last year. Now as a senior, this is everything really runs through her. She sees the field well. She can shoot. She can score. She can dodge. She can feed. I think she's all around just an awesome player and a great teammate. But, everything's kind of running through her at this point. And so it's awesome to see her hit that milestone. You're right, 100 assists is pretty impressive, especially when your freshman year was limited and not a normal freshman year like most athletes have. And the fact that she doesn't have a 5th year, I think some of these records and stuff, kids are having the chance to play for 5 years. So I do think that this was a real important milestone for her to be celebrated. And we're only a little bit of the way, almost a third through our season, maybe a quarter of the way through, who knows, some percentage through our season, but a lot of lacrosse left to play. And, with her leading our offense, we're confident of a lot of the things that she'll create in the future.
It's kind of that time of the season where you're not sure what day it is.
I don't
where
know
you are,
anything anymore. I know.
what time zone you're in, anything like that.
That's right.
Emily, Coach touched on a little bit when we're looking at just how important is she as a teammate, both on but also off the field for you guys?
I'm sorry, who did you say?
Oh, for Eloise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Eloise is one of the most selfless people ever. She is such a great teammate. She's always there for you. She's such a strong player and person, just both on and off the field. She's always there. And I look to her all the time, and I have since we've been here for the past 4 years together. But she's just a great person all around. She's always there to have your back. She's a leader out on the field, and she's just like such a sound person that everyone can look to and like look for advice or look to have some support there.
And you talk about looking to Eloise, but also there's a lot of new players that have come in this season, both freshmen and transfers as well. And Emily, being one of those more experienced players, how do you kind of see your role in helping them get comfortable and make that adjustment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cathy and the rest of our coaching staff really emphasize that there's no classes on this team. You're not a freshman, you're not a sophomore or junior. You're just part of Maryland Women's Lacrosse family. And I think that's something we really try to emphasize is like just making everybody feel welcome as one. And I think that has been something that like I've tried to take to heart recently and like really just make sure that everyone feels like they're a part of this program for a reason. Everyone has their very specific role, and integrating how many new people, like maybe 12 new people this year, whatever we had, is like an important part because that's a large portion of our team. But making sure that everyone feels welcome, everyone feels involved is like a super important part to both our chemistry on and off the field.
And we look at some of those new faces and however many there might be, maybe Clevenger being one, sister of Eloise Clevenger, but not the only sisters on the team. Coach, I want to start with you first, just to kind of give us some context. You've had so many sisters, like sibling duos on your teams over the years. What kind of dynamic does that add to your program?
Well, it's, I think the cool part is that the second sibling is interested in coming here. And I think that says a lot because it means their first sibling is loving what they're doing, right? Like if not, I hope they wouldn't come, but, to have that opportunity. But, it's really cool. Like even you look at Emily and her sister, Maddie, they're sisters, but they believe in each other. They love each other. They take care of each other. They can bounce ideas off of each other. And the support there goes without even saying anything. And you see Eloise and Maisie, and these two finally have a chance to play together. Eloise's senior year of high school was the COVID year, and it was shut down. And that would have been the year that Eloise and Maisie would have had a chance to compete together on the same field for high school. So this is the first time that they've had that opportunity, which I think is something that's really special for them. But just kind of, they all look out for each other. You've got Em that's taken in Maddie in her class when they were freshmen and came in. You've got Eloise that, can take in Maisie's class and stuff. And it just becomes a real natural transition. And so I feel blessed that, again, the second sibling decided to take my phone call and look to come in, but just kind of goes into, we have a real close group, and that's important to us as coaches. I think that's what this is ultimately all about, is having a group of people that can really enjoy each other, and respect each other and work hard for each other and work hard for Maryland and love what they do and just kind of have that passion. And these guys all show that, and having kind of the sibling love is just a big part of it.
And so, Emily, Coach, the call to the second sibling and stuff like that. What are the conversations you maybe had with Maddie about, like, hey, this could be a possibility? What do you think?
Honestly, it started way before Cathy even gave her that call. I would just tell Maddie about like all of my times at Maryland, like how I was enjoying practices, everything off the field together. And I think I'd like kind of like not purposely planted that seed in her. But then when it came to her recruiting process, I did kind of want to stay out of the like cycle a little bit. I wanted her to be able to make that decision for herself. And so I really stayed out of it. Of course, I wanted her to come to Maryland, but I wanted to let her make that best decision for herself. So when she said that she officially wanted to come to Maryland, I was like tears of joy. We were in the parking lot right after one of our home games during the fall. And it was like one of the best feelings for me. And I was so happy, but I'm really glad that she decided to come to that decision by herself and like really decide what was best for her in that process.
And it makes it easier for the family too. You're not jetting off to different schools and different times. You're like, one stop, we're good. We can get all the action.
That's right. We get their parents to the game, and don't forget their dog. Em's got to see her dog every time the dog can come around. Both of them are very, It makes the day complete. That's for sure. So good thing the dog doesn't need to be split between 2 schools, or they may have to get another one.
That is true.
Okay, well, Em, tell us about this dog now, because this is something I think the people need to know about.
Okay, so his name's Gus. He's a 3-year-old golden retriever. We got him towards the end of COVID. So as I was going into my sophomore year of college, and he's just absolutely perfect. He's like, he makes everyone so happy. Everybody jokes that he's like really a human trapped in a dog body. He does not act like a dog whatsoever. But no, we have him come down all the time for all of our games. Before we go into a game, it's always, is Gus coming this weekend? Is Gus coming this weekend? From at least like 15 girls on the team. We're like, yes, guys, he'll be here.
So the unofficial mascot, maybe. Gus,
yeah, we'll take that.
We need him on the show then. I think we need a Gus appearance at some point. If we'll have.
Absolutely.
So when you kind of talk about family dogs and having all that, you guys always have one of the best atmospheres in college lacrosse, week in, week out. And Coach, for you, kind of how important is it to have not just the Maryland fans, but the families and, you know, the friends and all that, being able to come and support your team? What does that do?
Yeah, well, you know, before we even go there, you know, we renovated the field hockey lacrosse complex this year. And so we had competed last year in the stadium. And so having, you know, being in that atmosphere with a facility that seats, 60,000, I don't know what it actually, the final number is way different than being in field hockey lacrosse, where, you know, we can pack this place and it is full. The grass area is full and the stands are full. So to return home and have our, you know, place to kind of call our home has been really special this year, and something we're not taking for granted. We're very grateful for. And, you know, but it allows us to be up close with the fans. So, you know, the families are you can see, you're right there on the fence or right there in the stands, and people sit in their same places all the time, and we can pack this place. And for our last, you know, home game we had, it was packed. There was standing room only, if that, in there. And I anticipate we're going to have a great crowd for Sunday's game as well. We play Sunday versus James Madison at 11 a.m. And it is a little earlier because we're hosting Big Ten Wrestling Championships on campus. So there's a lot going on, but parking for us is free and open until 11, until game time, you know, so great to kind of get people in. I anticipate having a great crowd for another top 10 matchup, but it's important to us to have these Maryland fans kind of bring in the energy and the families to be there to show the love. I know our team appreciates it. The girls love it. And that's what we really thrive on.
That was the most subtle, natural advertisement I've ever seen slipped into a question. That's fantastic. We were going to get to that.
Swing by the Green Turtle and have a couple beers on your way out.
She's just selling everything now, which is amazing. So I did want to talk about the facility. So Emily, what now having this, because you were there obviously before it was renovated and now getting to experience it. Just, I mean, the room you guys are even sitting in, that wasn't really a thing before. What is it like to now kind of have that new place to call home?
It's absolutely amazing. I think it's program changing. Honestly, it's like state of the art. It's amazing. What is really huge for us is that we actually have a space to hang out as a team now. Between the last Plex, where we didn't have too much space, just as an individual team, and then being in BTH for the year, where we just kind of had our locker room and that was it. We have areas that we will hang out now in between classes, which is great. The team will come here and watch a great lacrosse game that's on at one night, and we'll all get dinner and just sit there and eat together. We'll do that between classes. We'll do that on days off. And I think that's great. Just giving us another space to be able to all connect with each other is fantastic. We have everything that we need here now. So there's just so much more incentive just to be here with each other more and spend more time together, which is fantastic.
I think kind of the joke for a little while was, Cathy, you wasn't even to hold the trophies or anything like that. So now you have a bit more space, and you've gotten settled into the new digs already. How are we feeling about the new space?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Just like she said, we just like to have everybody together. I love our offices being down here where Emily can just pop down. She's in treatment and getting ready to go into a film session, but she can come up and talk to us as well. And I just really knowing what's going on in our team's lives, with everybody out there. So it's nice to just kind of be back in one spot together.
And what's going on in your team's lives, they are prepping for a big game on Sunday that you advertised beautifully already. But James Madison coming to town, and that's a big time matchup. And so, Coach, for you, just kind of how do you start to kind of break down what you're expecting from a big time game like that?
Well, first of all, James Madison's probably one of the top 4 teams in the nation right now at this point in the season, having, a great early game win, the first game of the season over North Carolina, and then continuing to go undefeated until this point. And we lost to them twice last year, both by 1 goal. So that for us, they ended our season when we were down competing in the NCAA tournament down at James Madison. And again, the game came down to the final probably 5 seconds of the game and was a 1-goal game. And so this is a really tough team. We did play them. We played them this fall as well. It's a close game for us, but a rivalry that we've had for years. So again, looking forward to the matchup. They're really good defensively. Their offense is really well balanced. They've got a lot of people on the offensive end that can score. They're going to challenge us on both ends of the field. But, for us, that's kind of what we talked about earlier. The key is preparation. And what have we done to this point? We've learned a lot about ourselves and areas that we're weak and areas that we can improve. And we have another opportunity on Sunday. And it's going to be a great day. Like I said, in front of a great crowd. Come on out and support your Terps. But it's an awesome opportunity, and that's how we're really looking at it. Is let's not worry about James Madison. Let's focus on Maryland and what do we need to do? Let's be the best team we can be. Let's be better than we were the last time we played. Let's continue, with what we've been building on and what we're working on, and let's see what we got on Sunday against a really talented team. And we know it's going to be a great game, but we're going to give it all we got and go from there.
And Emily, Coach talks about that preparation and everything and going into such a big game like that. When you're looking at James Madison, how much of that preparation includes looking back at last season, kind of maybe either using it for motivation or breaking down those games? And how much of it is kind of that was last year, 2 totally different teams, and we're looking forward? How do you kind of balance that history versus looking forward?
Yeah, I think you said it well when it is a balance. It really is a balance. We know we kind of left both of those JMU games with a sour taste in our mouth last year, just losing both of those games by 1, feeling like we could accomplish what we wanted to, but just never really quite reaching that point. So that's definitely fueled like a little bit of a fire, but at the same time, we are a completely different team this year, and so are they. And so we need to approach it completely differently. Like, we need to get back to the roots of Maryland lacrosse and do what our team is good at, that this 2024 team is good at compared to what that 2023 team was good at, and focus on those individual things and making it play by play. That's something that we've really been focusing on, is like capitalizing on each and every moment. And I think just like not looking at the past, not looking at the future, but just when we step out on the field on Sunday at 11 a.m. to our packed facility.
Don't forget about the daylight savings time to jump forward an hour.
That we really just take it moment by moment. Like, yes, like we can be fired up for the game because of what happened last year and like our will to like what we want to be able to accomplish this season, but really just taking it play by play, moment by moment, and like being able to do everything that we can in each of those plays.
And Coach, I appreciate the daylight savings reminder, because I'm calling that game, and I think that would have been an oh crap moment Saturday night that I kind of have to move things around a little bit as well. So 11 a.m. PAX facility, James Madison, Maryland, Field Hockey Lacrosse Complex, College Park, Maryland, United States of America. I think we've gotten that in there pretty well. And Gus will be there. That's he's the main draw. So, well. Cathy, Emily, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. So excited to be having this show throughout the course of this season. And we will see you on Sunday morning.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
All right. So we are going to close things out here for the Maryland Lacrosse Show, and introducing the Turtle Triple Play at the Green Turtle, an amazing $25 offer, including an appetizer and 2 entrees, a high-value experience in a sports fan's paradise. Check your local Turtle for details. To close things out, Maryland men's lacrosse versus Brown on Saturday, Maryland women's lacrosse on Sunday versus James Madison. Stay tuned to all of the Maryland Athletics channels for all of the game action. For our entire crew here virtually for the Maryland Lacrosse Show, I'm Brandon Hartlove saying so long. We will see you next week, same time, same place, for the Maryland Lacrosse Show presented by the Green Turtle. Have a good one, everyone.